Alright, let's cut across now to the capital, where Chinese Premier Li Keqiang is being given a guard of honor at the Rashtrapati Bhavan.
Right, the Prime Minister in fact hosted a dinner last night for the Chinese Premier Li Keqiang, and it seems what came out of that dinner meeting was a very positive note. Both the Prime Minister and Chinese Premier Li Keqiang agreeing on the many issues which was brought up by the Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. Prime Minister Manmohan Singh in that meeting stressing on issues of border incursion which recently took place in Ladakh, also on issues of trans-river water sharing in the border areas, as well as deficit issues in terms of trade. Well, these were the three major issues which were picked up by Prime Minister Manmohan Singh in his discussion over that dinner meeting yesterday with Chinese Premier Li Keqiang. Today is going to be the more formal talks where both the premiers are likely to discuss and formalize the issues brought up yesterday. About 8 agreements is what we are looking at that are going to be signed formally between the two countries.
In fact, the Prime Minister and Chinese Premier Li Keqiang will be meeting later today as well, where of course, like Priyali mentioned, we will be of course looking at the signing of those bilateral agreements. At the moment, of course, being given that ceremonial reception at Rashtrapati Bhavan. After this, he is going to be heading to Rajpath and pays honors to the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi. And after that, we'll be seeing him meeting the External Affairs Minister Salman Khurshid. That meeting to take place somewhere at about 10:15 to 10:30 is what we're expecting. And then at about 11:30 is when delegation level talks will take place with Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. Our chief diplomatic correspondent Parul is of course going to be tracking all developments, joining us now on the phone line. Parul, at this point of time, a warm feeling between both sides, something we of course were not expecting at least till about 2 weeks back.
Yes, I suppose you could say that there was an element of warmth in the conversations the two leaders had yesterday before dinner and even over dinner, partly because of the personality of the visiting Chinese Premier. Tracy officials suggesting that he's very different. He's in a different mold from other Chinese leaders. For starters, he's much younger than they've tended to be. Most of them, the outgoing leadership certainly was in their 70s. Premier Li is just about 57 years old. He's also got his own style. He's more open, he's more affable, he's not as stiff as other leaders have tended to be. So that's helped in his conversations with the Prime Minister. And his background is also different.
Right, Karul, sorry to interrupt you here, but let's just listen in to the Chinese Premier addressing the press right now.
对中印关系抱有如此巨大的热情，在这样的
Premier there addressing the press. Remember after that informal dinner meet which took place between Indian Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and Chinese Premier Li Keqiang last night. Today is going to be the day of formal talks. In fact, let's just go back to our chief diplomatic correspondent Parul, who's joining us. Parul, yesterday, as we said, it was the dinner meet ended on a positive note. Informal talks took place on a lot of issues, but today, formalization of talks are likely to take place. What are the major agendas that are going to be looked at?
Well, yesterday's talks basically centered on 4 issues that were termed as high priority issues by Indian officials. So obviously the border dispute, the larger territorial dispute, and indeed the border incursion, the standoff just about 3 weeks ago. That figured prominently, the Prime Minister raising that up front and rather frankly in his discussions in his very first meeting with the visiting Premier. Officials were rather pleased about that. He also talked about, the Chinese attempts to dam the river Brahmaputra, which is of course a shared river. India has long held concerns about the implications of river water flows into this country by the Chinese dam project. So he asked straight up for a clarification from the Chinese Premier about their intentions. We're being told that on the border dispute particularly, he was rather receptive to India's suggestions that the talks on a final settlement should be expedited, but more importantly, the special representative should meet soon to see if the existing mechanisms are not working too well. Remember, if they've been working flawlessly, this incursion should not have lasted for 3 weeks the way it did. So they will meet soon to discuss ways to improve the existing mechanisms on the ground. On water sharing as well, we're being told while the Premier did not give a commitment that China will start to give advance information to India about construction of dams, he did indicate that there was scope for improving the existing mechanisms on exchanging information on river data. So that's certainly a positive that the Indian side is seeing, although they didn't go as far as they would have liked the Chinese to have gone. The third issue of importance
Parul, I'm sorry, let's just listen into what the interpreter is saying at this point.
So taking this opportunity, I would like to sincerely thank the Prime Minister for all of that.
我们的会谈已经取得了丰富的成果，我们还将在今天的大范围会谈当中取得更加丰富的成果。
Yesterday, the Prime Minister and I had a most productive session. I'm sure in the talks that will follow today, there will be even more bountiful results.